Welcome to Connections. I'm your host, April Healy. I'm with my awesome friend, Dan Weber. He's the third-year director of School of Supernatural Ministry and pastor on staff at Bethel, Atlanta. Hi, friend. Welcome.
Hello. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. This segment, I'd love to talk about the School of Ministry. You moved here this year. You had no job. You just came because the Lord told you to come, and then you got a third-year director position. And so can you tell us about what's third year all about? You've kind of changed it as you've come on staff this year.
Yeah, the third year, kind of, going into it, let me backtrack. So I've been a part of a ministry school, or technically a discipleship school, for about 8 years. I think we started in 2009. And so been able to, get a taste for and see kind of how they function and what kind of some of the pros and cons are, especially approaching the end of a second year commitment and then trying to go out into the real world and or doing an internship and then going out into the real world. So there's always seems to be this little bit of a drop off rate, or we would call it we had the school was BASSM. We call it the post school syndrome, and so seeing that and realizing that's just not our story. That's just kind of a school of ministry story. Coming into this one, it was okay. Let's see what we can do to kind of shore that up and address that. And so I just kind of sat down and we did some brainstorming with the team, and really I just started kind of picking my own brain, if you will, of like, okay, well, what's caused, even me to be successful in real life as a follower of the Lord in this kingdom culture and being out in the world and influencing the community and stuff. And I think it really kind of narrowed down to 3 categories, and it was, intimacy with the Lord, and the second one is the community or family. And then the third one was personal responsibility. And when you're looking at the school system, it really kind of creates an environment for you. It provides encounters for you. You are able to have encounters with the Lord because you have to be there. And as long as you're willing and engaged, you're able to actually access that kind of a experience. And the family community experience is happening for you. You're in small groups, you're in a revival group, you're, running with a group of people. The personal responsibility thing, it's a little bit of an external environment that's kind of causing that to happen, homework, different, tasks or things that you have to do throughout the year, whether that's going on a missions trip or, what have you. So when you get out of that system, it's kind of really all on you to kind of create and maintain all that. And what I thought we wanted to go after in third year was, okay, let's equip the students to learn how to build that on their own. Obviously, the intimacy with Jesus, realizing that's your own responsibility to have an encounter with the Lord, to pursue Him, to spend time with Him, to have some sort of a connection outlet with Him, and all the time. And then, the community part is, the biggest question we hear a lot is, well, where's the community in this church? How come this isn't being provided for me? I'm thinking, I'd like to see students, instead of asking who's going to provide it for me, really with the thought and the thought process of, oh, I actually have been equipped with how to build this now.
Yeah.
Like I know how to develop community and build relationships and build family on my own. And so them being empowered, trained, equipped, empowered to do that on their own. And then the personal responsibility thing is, man, if you just boiled it down and looked at even my own life and journey, it's just taking responsibility for what the Lord's doing with you, what He's putting in your hand, where He's growing you, what seasons you're in, being able to go after, all that and actually stewarding that really, really well on your own, which requires discipline. It requires a lot of commitment. It requires perseverance. But so that's kind of been the heart theme for the third year this last year, kind of trying to develop some of that stuff in the students so that they're able to be empowered, so that when they leave, they're able to kind of maintain yeah, go after your dreams, go after the things in your heart. But now you got really the core components, which is going to cause you to be successful wherever you're at. Um, yeah, I started out saying if we train you on how to be a worship leader because you're called to be a worship leader, then when it's time for you to have kids and you're no longer a worship leader, how's that going to work for you? Like really want to equip you with the core components on thriving in life,
Yeah.
not just the external activation, as important as that is as well.
That's What are you teaching them as far as creating their own community? What are you saying to them to say, this is in you, go do it?
I think some of the practical side is, if we just get down to the real bare bones practical, is, man, how do you develop best friend?
Mm-hmm.
How do you open up, become vulnerable, become authentic, transparent? How do you let someone into that depth of your life? And on a practical note of, who are you doing that with? Are you doing that with people? Do you have that active in your life? Do you have mothers and fathers that you're opening up and letting speak in, that you're trusting? Kind of really it's a real practical thing. It's like that actually has to be happening. And if it's not happening, you talk about it, but you're not doing it, you're not going to access the benefit of that design, if you will.
Yeah. So how do you do it practically?
Man, you sit down with someone and have coffee and open up.
There you go.
Real simple. But I think the hardest part is people just have to push through the fear of trusting someone and the risk of getting hurt.
Yeah. Since you just came on and this is your first year doing third year here, what are some of the changes you've made and that you are going to make from this year to next year?
Yeah, this year to next year, this last year was a little bit of a hybrid with the way our school and the new leaders have been with our new second year leader. I'm a new third year leader. I think moving forward, we're really wanting to go after the heart of still having those three components, but kind of more embedded in leading yourself and leading others, and then leading in the world. So, the idea of that personal responsibility of how I'm leading me, building those community and that sort of thing, leading others, being trained and activated in, okay, you're actually going to lead people. What does that look like for you? How does that play out? And what does that mean for you as a leader? What does that even mean to lead people? And how to do that really, really well. It doesn't just mean telling people what to do. It actually means you're there to serve them and put all your heart into serving people. So the third aspect is, okay, now you can lead people and build teams according to that, which is another aspect. I won't get into that right now, but learning how to build teams I find is just one of my passions. But and when you're leading others, you're typically leading with a team. The last segment is this, okay, how are you leading in your sphere of influence in order to bring change into culture? Because that's really what this whole thing was about. You just spent years in ministry school, trained and equipped to go change the world. Okay, now how are you changing the world? What does that look like for you in what you now have come to know of as your gifts, your passions, your talents, your dreams, all that stuff, and being activated in that, and now being activated as a leader? How are you taking that into Starbucks as a barista and changing the environment?
Yeah, that's so good. Do you have any highlights from this year that you absolutely love, or what do you love about the school? Something that just pops out.
I think the highlight this year has been having a group of students so hungry, such a desire to grow, such a desire to get all they can get. At the same time, a desire to go change the world.
Yeah.
It's those that are humble and walk in that humility that are the ones that will bring lasting change to a world.
That's so
and
awesome.
So being able to have the opportunity to lead a group like that is just definitely a highlight.
Yeah. And you're so easy to follow, Dan, honestly. You always have such great ideas, and you're always so brilliant and so easy to follow. So thanks for coming. Thanks for being on the show. I loved having you as always. And you guys, thanks so much for joining us. We love you, and we'd love to have you back next time.